Welcome back to 10 Cents Podcast. I am your host, Robbie, and I'm sure AI butchered that like it always does if you're watching the captions. And across from me is my co-host, Dusty Nixon, and you'll notice that the only Adam here is Flatum because he could not be bothered.
Flatum is so reliable.
He's here every week.
He's just grinding.
Never misses. I'm going to have to start bringing Flatum to the track with me, I think.
Put a little headset on him. He can radio you whenever there's a caution.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I did just check that, make sure my radio works. Because the last time I went out, it was like one ear and not the other. After I had just tested it and made sure that both ears worked. So, just one of those things. It was just a weird connection thing, but I fixed it. But.
You have you can have mono race director. It's fine.
It's super annoying when you only have it one ear, though.
Yeah, I bet your car with the full force of the VQ is probably fairly loud on the inside. So
it's not quiet, like not even a little bit. Yeah, we'll just jump right into it. So I do have the Z back together, and I've test driven it, and I sent to the group chat right away. I was like, I can't remember. I think I made a fake quote. Obviously, it was like, "I'm really happy that your Z is back together. Definitely not my neighbor's." Because like I have this, so now that I'm out on gravel, I can just like take the car out and test things. So once it was all back together and aligned and basically ready to go, I just take off, and then I can go like basically a mile down this to my left, and then take a mile. Then it's like basically it's like a 1 mile or 4 mile loop in a mile square basically.
And you don't even have to leave the gated community. I'm
in the middle of the country now. It's nothing but horses, and so it's not even cattle farms. Like that's what's weird here is like the big difference for me from Iowa to Ohio is less cattle farms, so many horse farms. Like shockingly high number of horse farms. Because there's again one of the roads that I'll take if I do test drives. There's a small farm, and it's like whatever thoroughbreds, and it's just fancy ass horses.
Oh yeah, because Kentucky's not that far away, right?
No, not at all. Literally an hour and a half to the border.
So the reason all those horses with like hollow bones that as soon as they step on a pebble wrong, they get to take them out back and
shoot them. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I was like taking it out for a test drive, and I'm like actively not trying to completely annoy my neighbors, but there's enough houses on these roads that like, and it seems like people are sitting on their porches because it's springtime. So like I'll wave and I'm not speeding, it's fine, and then I'll get like away from the house, and then I'll do like a flat foot shift into the next gear, and it's like I'm sure I'm annoying as fuck.
Well, at least it's like it's just super low key. It doesn't have a bunch of lettering and graphics on the side.
And my name on it. Yeah.
Giant wing.
Yeah. So
the name of some podcast.
Yep. Yep. So far, no one seems to be too rattled by it. But yeah, one of the neighbor kids was out like riding his bike and just like stopped. I'll take that compliment every day.
He went, "Oh my gosh, there's a drift car here."
100% chance. Do a burnout. But yeah, so
the only people that have ever stopped and talked to me whenever I've had my car on the trailer in front of ask me where I go drift it.
Damn it.
I'm like, no, I'm not that cool.
No. The worst part was like during my interview for EWI, like they wanted to do a slide. Part of it was a presentation, right? So I had to do a presentation to a big group of people about like a project I had done. And one of the slides had to be like a personal thing to tell you about yourself before you actually get into it. And then, of course, I included a picture racing. And I absentmindedly didn't even think about it. It was like in cockpit view from the video from Pikes Peak. PPIR, obviously, a grid life. And I even said it like that, Pikes Peak. And they're like, "Oh, Pikes Peak." I'm like, fuck.
International Raceway.
It's the road course. It's not as cool. Never mind.
The IR versus the IHC. That's an important distinction.
Yep. Because like again, like as soon as you say it, you're like Pikes Peak, and like, oh,
ooh,
the race. Oh, because because they have no clue what PPIR is, so you have to explain it, and then the whole thing's ruined.
It's actually technically in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I actually liked the track, which was really weird, but I enjoyed it. It was always a fun weekend, except for when it was 30 degrees out. But yeah, so taking a step back, I did get the ZL back together. The biggest thing was, I think where we left off, was that I had ordered those over fenders from a company that clearly doesn't actually fulfill orders. Luckily, I put it on my credit card, and then knew in the back of my mind there's a chance I wasn't going to get them. So then waited till the end of the 60, or not until the end, but towards the end of the 60-day grace period where I could file a report and say, yeah, I'm not getting these, and here's all of the evidence to prove that I did my due diligence, and they said they were coming, and they obviously didn't. And so yeah, I got my money back, and then ordered just. Again, I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on over fenders for a car that has clearly been crunched up a few times. It's like they're not going to be straight anyways, so spending $1,000 on really nice ones isn't going to get me very far because I'm going to have to hack them up anyways.
There's going to be fitting just like any fiberglass part, but even more so since it's
not perfectly straight.
Yeah.
So I ordered just...
It's a race car. It's a race car.
Yep. So I talked myself out of getting the absolute cheapest ones that they make from Puerto Rico, and went with the second tier below bottom, and that was the Duraflex ones. I mean, they were decently well made, but yeah, they didn't fit for shit. So I mean, it was just like any other Chinese fiberglass that shows up, right? It kind of is. It should fit for the most part, but of course you have to like bend it into place and like really work it. And I knew that going in, that I was going to have to do some fabrication to get them to work. And I think I sent you a picture. Basically, you and Josh Lapetrie and E-Man were basically along for the ride for this. Like, you didn't ask for it. You didn't want updates. I didn't care. You got updates the whole weekend.
This was like the OnlyFans where you have to pay money to make it stop.
Yeah, basically. But
yeah, also just the first one where you've built up all of the new lip with the I'm out on the fiberglass part right there. Like,
see, I don't mind fiberglass work. It's kind of like where the artist in me kind of starts to show up. I don't have that picture. I thought I did. Anyways, but yeah, so I get them and I put them on the car, and like these are supposed to be plus 30 millimeters, which is perfect because when you put the GTR hubs on the front, that's plus 28. So then I made the rears match. So I just had to add 20, I think, to make it match perfectly, right? So then I wanted to just add 30, which will give me a little bit of room. And it should go over the edge of the wheel, cover everything, no big deal. That only worked for like a little bit in the front, and then it just kind of like cut straight across and went all the way back to the back bumper. So it was like,
so their 30 millimeters was the leading edge.
Yeah, right at the front of the tire where it was covered. You could argue that was 30 millimeters, and then like the entire rest of it just like straight lined it to the rear bumper. It was like, this is crap. So then I basically fought it for hours, right? Put it up against it, kind of tried to like put little notches in it and cut it, and then have it so I could warp it in a way and manipulate it and then hold it so that it would maybe be a little bit better. But then of course it like warps. And then I finally got to the point where I was just like, all right, I'll start hacking on this thing. So I cut off a big strip of it, and I put it up there and tried the same thing again. Then I cut more off of it, and I just kept cutting until it was like it completely turned my over fenders into what you would do when you're preparing for over fenders. I just like cut. I just like cut the whole thing off, and I got to the point where I was like, man, I should have just started from scratch. So what I did was...
So you did the thing that I talk about on building a proper race car of just cutting a giant hole for the tire to fit into and then just filling things in around it.
Basically that.
Yeah.
What's that? yeah, so what I did was I had some leftover, like, really thin plastic that I'd used to, I think I used it for, honestly, I can't remember what I used it for. Just like this really, really thin white plastic stuff. Almost like a few sheets of paper thick, like a tag board type stuff. So I used it as a template for one of my splitters. So I know I have one rolled up that's just like the footprint of my splitter. And then the leftover pieces of that, I took it, and so I'd hacked up these over fenders and then taped like these little strips of plastic to kind of get it to give me the contour that I wanted, to cover the entire rest of the wheel, and then also have a natural like angle towards the rear bumper. And then also it almost turned into almost like box flares, because like I would have it come out and then straight back, so then just like almost like a way to vent a little bit. Yeah. We're only talking like an inch and a half, so it's not really doing anything, but it almost made it look more like it was intentional in how it should look. So then I had that all taped together. So then I built it all out of plastic and tape, and then fiberglassed it, and then took all of that off, and then put another layer of fiberglass on the front and just kind of held it all together. And then spent an entire Saturday of just like sanding and hacking and cutting and, just the whole thing, and completely eyeballing the radius of around the tire. So like it does the way I did it now, it actually blocks a little bit of the front of the tire, goes up around, kind of follows the edge of the tire, and then covers it the whole way.
Yeah, you're tucking, bro.
A little bit.
Stance Nation.
And my thought was like, just keep adding fiberglass, right? You can always cut it away, but but now I at least have
you can lighten it back up and make it thinner.
Yep. Yep. So I had the general shape of what I wanted it, and then I'm just eyeballing it to get the radius that I want. So I just worked that weekend, so it was kind of nice that I didn't have to feel like I was abandoning her for, I guess it was all Friday afternoon, all day Saturday, and the most of Sunday, because at that point I was ready for paint and then wrapping and all that stuff. So it was 2 full days of just hacking and sanding and fighting, and I think if I would have had a game plan going in, it would have been done in probably half the time or less. But the fact that I tried to make it work with what I had, then cut a bunch off, then I had like completely hacked out like where the gas cap cover flipper thing is. So I had to like rebuild all that out again, because I built it, because then it moved it back out again, and I didn't want to have that huge gap. I was like, well, I got to rebuild all this. So then that actually took way longer than if I would have just left it and then recut the hole at the end. So just things you do when you're like, in the heat of the moment, I'll just keep hacking, and then realize, no, okay, now I just added 3 hours of work.
Yeah, sometimes in the heat of the moment, you just cutting things off, and then there's basically no car left, and then like later you're looking at it and going like, wow, that's a lot of car to build back.
It happens.
So I can see your shop back in the background, and it's just white dust, solid, covering the whole top of it. And I assume that's what your entire garage looks like.
The 300ZX, the entire garage, the couch, everything. I think it was 3 weeks ago. I basically reorganized the entire shop. All my spare parts, all this 300ZX parts, all that, like just kind of did an inventory and then cleaned everything and got rid of all that. But yeah, it was just like a layer of, it looked like a body shop, but just a layer of Bondo dust and fiberglass dust. And this is right after we got Gabby, so she was hanging out in the shop, and then I just like took the angle grinder to the fiberglass and was like, and just like dust everywhere, and then like the dogs are covered in dust. They probably don't need to be out here.
I didn't realize we got a white dog. Oh no.
Yep. Well, then like they're sneezing, and like it's like, okay, they probably shouldn't be breathing this either. Like it's bad for everybody. So
I'm fine, but they're not. They're not safe.
I don't want them to breathe this. I'll fill my lungs with fiberglass. It's fine, but I don't want them to deal with it. So, yeah, I brought them in the house obviously after that, and realized I'd made a terrible mistake for their own health. But yeah, so. Actually, legitimately very happy with how they turned out, all things considered. I almost didn't get the Duraflex ones because they're the Dulux style, because I don't like that extra body line that they added to it. I know Sebin did the same thing with their carbon. They added that body line, and technically it matches my front bumper because that's a Dulux, and like that was the whole kit. But I was real tempted to sand it flat, but decided I'd done enough sanding for 2 days. And just like, nah, forget it. It's not worth it. I'll cover it with a sticker.
No, because you would like just about have it gone, and then it would go right through, and you would have to just start the whole fiberglass process over again. Like,
yep. And yeah, it isn't just thicker in that area. It is a mold, so I would have had to build it back. So I definitely talked myself out of it. And like the internal argument with myself the entire weekend of like, this is a race car. That's good enough. Stop. Had to happen a few times. Because like I kind of had the arches where I wanted. I was like, well, if I sand... Don't even fucking bother, dude. You're going to put wrap on it. It's going to get banged up eventually. Stop. And the first thing I'm going to do, as soon as I get it all together, I'm going to drill holes in it. So just stop.
Yeah, the race car versus OCD battle is it's a real thing.
But yeah, so legitimately very happy with how they turned out, all things considered. Yeah, I did. E-Man talked me into doing riv nuts versus rivets, so I can take them off when they get packed full of like OPR, and if they get damaged, when they get damaged, I can just take them off, put another one on eventually. So, and it was kind of nice too. Like, it's a Duraflex, so I can just go on any website because they're like Walmart.com or Amazon or wherever, eBay. They all have the same one, and I can just get it in 2 days. Yeah. So it's like, you know what? I made this way more complicated than I needed to. Just get the cheap, easy option, be done with it. Even if it's not perfect, again, it's a race car.
Yeah, I need to figure out. We came into 2 sets of 295 Yokohamas, and
like full sets.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, they were used for a couple of test days on a certain Supra GT4.
Ah, perfect.
And they figured out pretty quick that AO52s do not compare to Pirelli slicks much at all. It's not enough to be worthwhile to attempt to do something to get seat time for a guy that needs seat time.
Oh, yeah, sure. I would imagine the characteristics aren't even remotely close.
Yeah. So we mounted up a set on the truck for now, and I brought one of them home, and it's in front of the Z, and it's like, oh man, it looks so good. It looks like just like super tough, like because it's taller than my 275s. And then on an 11, it's got like just the tiniest bit of stretch, so it's just fills
it's proper
the entire front fender well. To the point that it would be fine as long as it didn't compress or have to turn ever.
Yeah, you can fix that. I fix that.
So I've already rolled them quite a bit, and I've been like wrestling with like, okay, how much more could I roll them before things just started getting really bad?
On the fronts, you can add 28 millimeters and then use a baseball bat to roll it out like a knife, and then it'll cover.
Yeah, I like.
Oh, by the way, did you get my email earlier?
Yeah. I think you've. Had you sent me, or is that new?
Yeah, is
this the full technical guide?
It's a full technical guide on how to put GTR hubs on a 350Z because Michael Hilo asked me for it, and I decided to organize my thoughts and send it to him.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, if you know anybody that has a company that makes hubs, like I don't know, there's a company that like makes a killing making Miata hubs that are like crazy expensive.
Yeah.
If you could like talk to somebody at that company and say, hey, 350Z hubs really suck, and the only real good option for fixing that also makes it way wide in the front.
Yep.
There's a market for it.
There absolutely is a market for wheel hubs. I can't think what that brand is, but yeah, that Miata billet hub that they make, if they would make one for a Z, every track guy would buy it for real. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. After my experiences, I won't get on track with stock hubs again. I wouldn't. I don't like. I'm not the type of guy that likes to brag about sitting there pumping the brakes with my left foot the entire back straight of a track. I don't feel like I'm cool for saying that. So like I don't do it, and I feel like that's such a risk. So pad knockback is fucking dangerous. So I don't do it. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. So I did hubs on mine year before last. Yeah. I haven't had the car on track much, and it is currently getting knockback driving down my alley.
Ooh.
Which my alley's like crowned on each side, so it's flexing the hubs as I drive.
Yep.
I get to the end of the alley and I get to like push the brake in just a little bit further.
Yep. Yeah, the fun part is when it creeps up on you, you don't expect it, like turn 10 at Gingerman.
Yeah.
Because that had never happened before, and then all of a sudden I had no front brakes. Just, oh well. But yes, and then, so at that point, the car was ready, in my eyes, for some testing. And by testing, I meant just like basic verify that the car is working. And I think I talked about it last year where one of the reasons my ABS kept giving me a light was because the axle stub on the driver's side, when you do an LSD in a 350Z, you need to replace both axle stubs with the short stub. And so I had kept the long stub. So the passenger side always has a short stub. It's the right one. The LSDs use them. The driver's side uses a long stub, and that's what it came with on the car. But when you go to an LSD, you need to get the short stub with the locking ring on it. So I had just, after last year, added a keyway and a locking ring to that stub, but it still slid in and out. So like on track, there'd be enough play and movement that would actually push the tone ring away from the sensor. So then it would throw an ABS light saying, this is impossible. You have one wheel going 0 consistently. And so then your ABS doesn't work because your light's on.
And the Bosch goes, nein, no passen.
Nope, no good.
Not possible.
I think it translates to not plausible is what.
Not plausible, yeah.
Yep.
How very German.
Yes, not plausible. And
this is unplausible.
So it was kind of funny too, because like you could looking back at last fall, I could really tell how empty my racing budget account was, because when I went to go order the axle stub, like the upgraded one that Z1 sells, I was like, that's probably, I mean, I know they're not that expensive, but I was like, a couple $100. I was like, $130. I was like, oh, I wasted a lot of time on something I could have just got for $130. It's like, and then of course, like I take out the axle stub because again, it just kind of slides out, and then I try to put the other one in, and it doesn't line up just so it doesn't go in, and I don't want to like hammer it in because it's going to cause damage. So then, like I spent a little bit of time doing that. I'm like, I should have just drop the whole thing, just drop the whole pumpkin, take the extra 20 minutes, do it, and then flip it on its side, and it just falls right into place, and everything lines up perfectly. So,
which to drop it, it's what, like.
It is.
There's six bolts on each axle.
Yep. So
you've already done that part.
Only on one side though. Only on one.
Yeah,
side.
There's 6 bolts on the other axle. There's four bolts on the prop shaft.
4 on the drive shaft. Only 4 holding it to the car, to the subframe. So I got the 2 going up, the 1 going against the actual cover, and then the brace. That's the added piece. That's not part of the OEM setup. And then
14 bolts.
Yes.
Which
but it's heavy.
Dalton,
it's heavy, okay?
Yeah. If Dalton, he would make it into 12 bolts instead of 14.
Yeah, because there is still one missing in my transmission because I threw it at Heartland Park. Granted, it's the one on the bottom I don't need, but
well, who got the last left there, huh?
Yeah, what an asshole. Yeah, so I did that and then did some testing, verified that going up and down the road and kind of beating on it a little bit without really pissing off my neighbors. Everything seems to be working just fine. And then it sat for about a week. And then I got my rev up ticket and I was like, I really don't want to take the CDO1 onto a track. And I had I got the CDO9 sitting right there. I'm like, okay. So was it last Saturday or Saturday before? 2 Saturdays ago. I went into the shop and was just like, no, it was on a Friday. Got off of work, came home from work, had lunch, because I got a flex schedule, so I get done at 11 on Fridays. Came home and eat. And so I was into the shop at like 12:30. I'm like, okay, I'll get the car on jack stands. I'll just kind of get going on this. I got all weekend. This is like literally the only thing I got planned during the days this weekend. I'll just take my sweet time doing it. And so we started taking it all apart, just disassembled it, and like before I knew it, the transmission's on the ground. And I just kind of take a break. I was like, well, it's only like 2:00. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll put the other one in.
I might as well drive it to dinner later.
Yeah. So it's like I started at like I think 12:30, maybe 1:00, and like I had no intention of even getting it done on Friday. And I think I had it on the ground, driven around the block, and I was in the house waiting for Jess to get off work at like 6. Like, I was annoyed at how fast I'd gotten at this without even actually trying to be fast.
Yeah, it's not there. So there's been times with both the truck and the Camaro that we've been that expedient with getting transmissions in and out of them. And it's not the best, like, it's a good skill to have. It's not the best place to be.
Yo, I'm not mad at my mechanical abilities to be able to do it. I'm mad at why I'm good at it. And of course, like, I have a 2-post lift set aside for me, not installed in my new shop. So like, I know that that's coming, and I was kind of dragging my feet like, well, I'll just wait till I get the 2-post installed and I'll just do it then. And then of course time kind of creeps up and I was like, okay, well, I'd rather have a CDO9 before a track day. So I'm more stubborn than this is difficult, so we'll just do it. But,
one last hurrah for working in the shop like a plebe on some jack stands.
Yep. Just practice when I have to do shit at the track, I guess.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing.
But I will say I did something that I don't know, proud of. I was able to drop the transmission without spilling a drop of oil. It's still completely filled.
Ooh, nice. It
helps when you have a spare like axle shaft that you can still stuff. Yeah, you just stick in the end. But still, it's still no mess.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, whenever we would do, when we pull the engine out of the Camaro, we leave the transmission on it and just pull it. Like if we were pulling everything apart just to refresh it and go through it, we would pull it out. And so we had plugs that we would drain the trans, and we had plugs we'd stick in it. I would inevitably pull. I'm under the car guiding it all the way out. I'm going to pull the plug out and drain it on myself, like at least drip some on myself. It's going to happen. I might as well just do it and get it out of the way and then stick it back in there. But
yep.
There was a couple seasons when we were running really hard that like we did an Optima event at NOLA and the trans like locked in third gear. We stopped at Summit on the way through coming home, and we had the new transmission. Like we left New Orleans at like 5:00 the Sunday after the event. And by like 5:30 the next day, we had the new transmission in the car and like on the ground ready to go.
Yep. Yep.
That was younger us before, and me not with a kid.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That helps when you have that kind of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, got it all back together. I do have one setup that Dalton will be proud of, and that is I drilled a hole in the side of my trans tunnel that has a plug in it now, so that I can just like put because I got the red line funnel that goes at a weird angle, so I can just put the red line funnel into the side of the trans and then just dump so I don't have to deal
Nice.
with because the CD09s need GL4. Well, all the bagged ones that you can just squeeze, those are all GL5, and that eats synchros, so I can't use it.
I don't remember what I put. Which? Oh man, it's been forever since I've changed mine.
So it's
Probably not a great thing, but
yeah. So realistically, you probably used Redline, Motul, or OEM Nissan if you actually use GL4.
I don't think we used GL4.
It's okay. I use Valvoline because it was free a bunch of times. Like the CDO1 originally after Grid Life had Valvoline because all the drivers got a quart of gear oil in that bucket that they gave out at Grid Life last year.
Oh yeah.
So I just went around and got 4 of them and made sure I had enough to fill the transmission and get it onto the trailer.
You're going to use this? Okay, thanks.
No, great. Thanks. Bye.
So we put Lucas Synthetic 7590 in it.
So I had really good luck with that, and then the only reason I stopped using it was because at least I'm pretty sure maybe I had really good luck with it on my other cars, and maybe I just never used it in this car.
And that was in 2015.
It's clearly not been a problem. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But
And the diff was done in like 2014. I don't think I've done it since.
it's a lifetime fluid. It's fine.
Yeah. Especially on mine, it gets hot enough that it kicks it out of the vent some whenever I do like track days in the summer.
See, I'm convinced I'm clearly not driving hard enough because I know Austin Hurdle had that issue quite a bit with his too, and like anyone that endurances these cars always complains about puking fluid out the diff, and I'm like, man, I'm driving like a bitch then because I haven't had that issue. I don't know.
Or the rest of us are overfilling it.
Details. But yeah, so the car is ready. Everything seems fine. I've done some test drives around the neighborhood, I guess, and everything seems pretty good. Obviously I can't beat on it too hard to get actual track simulation without being on track, but as far as I can tell, everything feels right. So I'm ready for rev up, ready to do some testing, ready to get behind the wheel again. Last Monday I did Track Walking podcast because it was their 200th episode. And so
they had a special celebrity guest.
They had, because much like us, they don't celebrate themselves. So they brought others on so we could have a conversation about them.
Oh, okay.
So it was
be very modest. We're going to let you talk about
you interview
not talk
me.
About us ourselves.
Yep. So so they had me and Bill from Garage Heroes and Training on, and so it was a really cool conversation. And then in typical Seth fashion, because he doesn't keep up with what I'm doing that much, he was asking about like where we're like kind of introduce ourselves to the people that don't know us on the show or that are listening. And then he kind of wanted to go down the path of like what I do with racing and like GLTC and like my car. And then I made a comment. I was like, yeah, last year was a really shitty year. And I had to take it, after July, I was just kind of like, I needed to just walk away. And he's like, we should dive into that. I was like, no, this is your podcast. The whole point is on episode 200, we're talking about your show. If you want to have me on to talk about my problems, we can do that. But now let's not ruin. Let's not completely deflect on my stuff during your show. So, but it was just
anytime I listen to them, I picture both of them are sitting on a couch with a notepad, going, "And how did that make you feel?" Except they're doing it to each other.
He basically did that, and I took it like hook, line, and sinker, and I was like. Like I kind of was going down that path. I was like, honestly, it was like really tough because like it was like it had been shitty, and I finally got to that point where I'd like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. Like what am I getting out of this? Because right now it feels like I'm spending a lot of money and not getting anything out of it, and I'm not enjoying it. I'm not after Road America, I'm sitting there, like I said, bank account's empty and the car's crumpled up. By bank account, I mean fun money account, not actual bank account, because those separate.
They were coming to foreclose on the house next week, and it was it was either a fresh transmission or that mortgage payment.
I definitely don't do that. I set aside a certain amount of money every month, and that goes to racing. And as soon as that's gone, we're done. Like we are fucking done. And I made it till July of last year before I completely ran out and had no, like, I even had some like credit card stuff where I was just like, the next month's money goes straight to the credit card to pay that off so I can get caught back up, and I'm not fixing the car. And I was so burned out by it. I was just like, I don't want to be stressed by my hobby that much. So I was just like, I had to walk away. And so he really wanted to dive into that. And I'm like, how about we talk after Rev Up and see if I've discovered my joy for this again.
Stay tuned for the exciting sequel or conclusion or continuation.
Exactly. Yep. Because I mean, I think I said it on the show here. I jumped on iRacing for the first time. I can't remember when. Like, I think it was probably after I moved here into Ohio, and I jumped on the sim, and it was just like I had that weird anxiety, like as if it was a real race, and I felt like really rusty and like didn't like I hadn't fucking done it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's been a year since I've done this, like legitimately a year since I've been doing this in the sim. And then same with on track. Oh yeah, I've done like 6 laps in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
No wonder I feel so out of place.
Especially taking the green flag 30 odd GLTC cars.
Yep. Yeah. Which is why I'm not in any rush to do that again. I need to build that back up. I trying harder isn't going to work for me. It's just going to make things worse. So I need to take a step back. I need to put me in some intermediate HPDs for a while. I'm fine with that. I need to build me back up. I need to build the trust in the car back up. I need to get to the point where it's like, okay, now I feel ready to challenge somebody again, because that person doesn't exist at the moment.
Yeah, that's a big, like, you know, I'm still trying to figure out things after something that happened like 4 years ago now.
No.
And like pretty much ever since then, which I've been on track to get on a big track. I've been in the Z, which I've never taken a full season and like really focused on getting it where I need it to be, where I need to feel confident in it. And so trying to go out and do a couple things a year and try to get into even a local time attack event. And yeah, it's big anxiety. It's big, like, I'm at the end of every straightaway, if there's somebody close behind me, it's like, I feel like I'm braking super early and I'm screwing them up, and the car like pushes a little bit or slides the back end a little bit whenever I'm not expecting it. Just all these little things that add up. And yeah, I think basically every time I've been to the track with it, I've had like 2 events in 3 years that I like left at the end of the day. Like, man, that felt good. That felt like I was prepared and came here and did what I was expecting to do. And the rest of the time it's been like, oh, like the car has this glaring issue. I have this glaring issue. I'm a complete incompetent giant P behind the wheel because I won't just push the car. And yeah, all that to say, I'm autocrossing this year.
Yo, hey man, I get it. I 100%, 200% get it. I mean, like looking back, I think I had my years wrong. I think when I was talking on track walking, I was like 2022 was a roller coaster because that was the NPO 1 year. Because I had some good races. Like finishing at High Plains was excellent. But at the same time, it was also I almost burned to the ground.
Where the car caught on fire and the suspension broke.
Yeah, I almost got burned to death. But I also finished the race.
We podium, baby.
And we podium. So like you see the roller coaster. There was good with the bad, and then that was also the year I had that really good race at PPIR on the rain. So like that was such a high moment for me. And then I think the only like real good moment was like where I felt comfortable in the car all of 23 was at Heartland Park at the end of the year, right before I put the car away for the winter. And then nothing about 24 was good. Nothing. So
yeah,
sometimes you got to know when to take a step back. I mean, you just got to reevaluate what's important to you. You got to reevaluate why you're doing it. And so like now that I'm in Ohio, like the Appalachian Hill Climb people are just like right there. So that sounds really fun to me. I want to give that a try. There's a few events that I'm closer to here that aren't grid life that I definitely want to just do for the fun of it. No competition in mind. Just go have fun. And I think that those line up perfectly with what I'm looking for now.
The hill climb stuff looks super fun. I think I would do it in a fit.
I get that.
There's a guy that we ran against in Optima named Cody Puckett. It's got a second gen Camaro that is like, it's kind of like, it's still a Camaro, but he's also like, he's raced and built asphalt late models. So
is that the orange one?
It's like red and black, kind of
I'm picturing a different one. Like there's a really wild orange one that got posted. That was at last weekend, 2 weekend, whatever. Last weekend's event. I don't know when this comes out.
I don't know if he's run one this year, but he was like top 2 or 3 in several of them the last couple of years. But it was Rowdy LS, and I think a 4-speed like dog box, like and he is wheeling the crap out of it around all these turns that there's like a 50-foot drop in trees on the outside of every one of them. And I'm like, this event looks really fun. And I did a lot of really stupid stuff driving on roads that were kind of sort of like that in Texas, but didn't have the drop off part. Mm-hmm. Whenever I was like 17 and 18 years old. And
back when we were made of rubber.
Yeah. Back when we were invincible.
Yep. Back when we were on our parents' insurance.
Also that, yeah. So I had a GMC Sonoma that I drove it so hard for so long that the guy that we took our cars to at that time to do alignments before we knew how to do our own alignments, he said, normally these trucks, they settle and they camber in, but this one's cambered out. Like, I think it was bending the frame rails from the camber load, or at least like wearing out the bushings in that way is probably more realistic. But so, awesome. Yeah, that's where I learned car control, was sliding around a GMC Sonoma on back roads.
I'll teach you car control for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you want to check out my episode, or like my small part of an episode of Track Walking, it's episode 200, Track Walking Podcast, and sounds like we're going to try to record at Rev Up, actually do a podcast that's focused on me, or at least somewhat focused on me.
Let's get back to the real star here.
Yeah, how about that?
Is Scott running the season, or I know he's doing like setup and coaching and stuff.
I think setup and coaching is the main focus. I don't believe he's. We had this conversation, and I think it's on the show. I don't think he's actually driving a Rev Up. I think he's coaching, and I think Becky's driving. And I don't know if he's doing anything more serious, like with racing at Midwest Fest or anything like that.
Yeah, I was thinking I'd seen some updates on his car, but not like. Didn't seem like it was like I'm about to go on track updates, just kind of.
Yeah. I think the coaching, I think he's really found a passion for that, and I think he's focused on that. And I know he's talked about it on his podcast, and I've only made it so like I listen to podcasts when I mow the lawn. Or when I'm traveling long distances by myself. So like I listened to podcasts when I drove from Des Moines to Columbus in January. And then I didn't listen to any podcasts again until I mowed my lawn for the first time this spring. So like if I'm behind on podcasts, it's because I haven't listened, and I really don't listen to a lot of podcasts. So I'm sure he's talked about it in detail on one of the more recent episodes. I'm just not there yet.
Yep, I'll have to go check out some of their stuff, because I'm hit or miss on picking up listening to them. So yeah, I need to do it more often. I enjoy people that talk about more like the mental side of things, and talk about like developing yourself and that kind of stuff. I listen to too many shows that are just dicking around and
sure
doing stuff like we do.
It happens. Yep, exactly. But I think that's about it for what I've been up to. I mean, just kind of thrashing in the garage, working, just getting ready.
So you've got Rev Up. Is there any other?
Right now, the only stuff I really have planned, I have no Grid Life tickets whatsoever. I have, besides Rev Up, of course. The next one I have planned is Mid-Iv TT at Ozarks. The obvious reason being Jess's family lives in the Ozarks, so it's just a pretty easy sell to be like, hey, I want to take a few days to go to the Ozarks. I want to go to the track. You can see your family. Pretty easy. And I've always wanted to drive that track, and this just seemed like a good opportunity too. And then
good place to work on shaking down a car.
Exactly. It seems like a great track to about 7/10.
6.5.
Yeah.
We'll rename the show that recap 6.5 tenths podcast.
Totally fine with that. I have no intention of trying to prove anything at that track the first time I'm there. And then I think E-Man's pushing real hard to do Lake Garnett this year. I think that'd be a pretty easy sell to get me to go. That's not till October though. And then if everything goes super smoothly and like I get some test days in, I know Clayton invited me to do some like Twilight Mid-Ohio tests. I know like Joe at Dula and some of those drift guys will rent Killcare for some test days. So like if I get to the point where it's like, okay, I feel like the car is there and I feel like I'm there, then maybe I'll try to get like a GLTC ticket to like Autobahn. I'd be shocked if I'm ready by Mid-Ohio, but I'll probably go to those events and hang out. Like I'll definitely go to Midwest Fest and hang out, but I have no intention of driving, at least competitively in that before June or July. And even then I'm not trying to get back on track fast.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Seems like a good summer to just go out and just pound laps and do full sessions and
find the enjoyment again.
Try stuff out and hang out afterwards and eat hot dogs with bros and
like send my log file off to Joe and then have him like actually do some like, so we're not constantly like on the back foot, like actually do tuning and testing and setup and like actually get to a point where it's like, okay, we are focused on the right things now. Rather than feeling like we're scrambling constantly. So that'd be great. That'd be a great feeling to be at that place.
Another random thought I'd had on your on the front hubs.
Yes.
I think if I take the plunge and do that, because I need new track wheels, and I'm kind of tired of my street wheels too. I might bite the bullet and go rotatable and do like Evo fitment fronts, like plus 40. I think that would work out because I'm like plus.
You're probably plus 18 or plus 22 right now.
Yeah, I think I have one set that's 20 and one set that's 22. I think, but I think it would work out.
Yeah, because I just did. I didn't obviously not spacious in the front, but yeah, I mean you could do offset and push you back. And then put you without having to do anything crazy with the fenders. Yeah, there's plenty of room in there.
Or I could do the GTRs and just leave like a 9.5-inch wheel on it, and just cut my steering stops off and utilize my angle kit and go drifting like I probably should have a long time ago.
No. You're a grippy boy and you know it.
Still every year at Super Lap I walk by that paddock and I just go like, I just don't know if there's anything for me in there.
No, I can absolutely enjoy it. It'd be cool skill to have. I don't discount that one for 1 second, but it's just, I don't know, that one that just, I thought I was gonna get the bug and I just never did. So
you took the couple times, right?
Yeah, I tried it with the 240SX that one time, and I had it fun for that day, and then like the original idea for the Z was to do a drift car, and I was just like, no, I want to do grip stuff. Yeah, and then it's been all downhill from there.
Everything's gone super.
Damn it. But you've been out though. You've been doing fun stuff though.
Yeah, we decided kind of, I don't know that it was a conscious decision, but just we did the SCCA local, just Texas region SCCA. We did their event in March with the truck, and kind of like we'd taken out the last couple of times he'd taken it out last year. It was kind of like it. We were having trouble getting it to get any like forward bite out of the corners. And it's like, we've got a 3-link on it. We've got we've got a bunch of adjustment back there, both in geometry and shocks. So I was like, okay, we should be able to like figure out what's going on, because the truck, you just couldn't put any power down off a corner without it just drift mode, just like second gear, 40 miles an hour, just rolling burnouts with this thing off corners, which can be fun
with 295 yokes.
That's what this was with 315s on it. But we also autocross on a lot that's like, it's old asphalt that's kind of coming apart. Like it's not a great surface. So like nothing has ever gotten very good traction there, but this was another level worse.
Okay.
So we figured out that these 315s, we've used them quite a bit. They were some that we had for the Camaro originally. Like they go back a few years. Like, okay, so we're pretty sure that they're kind of used up.
They're not optimal, sure.
Yeah, so we came into those 295s. So we mounted a set of those up, and then like first run out of the box in March, it's like, okay, this is that tires were the problem. Tires were a big contributing factor here. And I think he had moved some of the, because like with a 3-link, you move the upper link, and that changes where your instant center is for the rear. So you can kind of dial in like how much basically anti-squat you have, and that affects how it acts under acceleration and braking, more so acceleration. So the truck was just, it felt hooked up. I was in the right mindset to like work with it and drive it the way it needs to be driven, which is like left foot braking is an absolute must, because everything happens so slowly, even with double adjustable coilovers and all of the aftermarket suspension and everything. It's still 3,700 pounds with the driver in it. It's still tall. It's wide and long. Like, so everything on an autocross course happens kind of in slow motion. So you have to left foot brake to be able to like get it to transition into corners and stuff. You basically need to kind of power it into the brake to get it to set into the corner.
That was my question. Was that like, I'm assuming you're doing a lot more overlap with this car with brake and throttle than with most like you would at the Z or something.
Yeah, and it's not a conscious thing like
sure,
driving it into it or anything like that, but it's just that delay that you have normally whenever you're moving your foot back and forth, like you just can't have it. And so we ended up at that first one, there was only like 5 of us or 4 of us in the Cam T, which is the like, and Cam and SCCA is like the American muscle classes, and there's traditional sport, which is like 2-seaters like Corvettes, and then C, which is contemporary, which is like the newer model Camaros and Mustangs and that kind of stuff, and won the class in T.
Nice.
And it was one of those, like, it's a local autocross. Like, it's not like, I'm not going to go and like brag about it. Like, it's a huge, like I feel like we've done things that were bigger than this, but also I haven't done anything competitive in forever. And like being able to beat a car, like a guy in a fairly prepped Fox body with this truck was funny. Like, and just, it was a blast for the day. So, that day out on the way home, I'm just like, okay, like we're going to run enough events to qualify for the points, and like, dang it, I'd want to win the local autocross points to do something competitive and just like get some of the juice back from, you know, a bunch of years ago now, whenever we were going and running competitively all season in Optima stuff. Like I just like focus on this, the focus on the truck and focus on making a season of it and getting back into being a decent driver at something again, because it's been so long that I have had a lot of what you've had recently, questioning, like, do I still like this? Is this something that still feels like it's a worthwhile use of my time and energy? And yeah, whenever you come across on the last or next to last run of an autocross and you find a 4/10, and yeah, that's still crack. So
yep. So even if it's just something like that, where it's just like, you know, you're almost like dismissing it yourself, where you're just like, it's just a local autocross, you know, like it's whatever. But like at the same time, it's just like having, you know, a stretch goal and having something to like an obtainable thing that you can focus on and drive yourself towards and give yourself focused improvement on. I mean, that's where you get that excitement from. Like it's when you're constantly getting beat down, where you're just like, even if I do as good as I did, I get nothing. It's worthless. You know, it's like that's that negative cycle. Whereas like, you need a win every once in a while. Yeah. It's like even if it's like just a moral victory, you need that.
So like, I'm sure I'm not that competitive of a person. Like, I'm not the person that turns everything into a game. I'm not that way. But I'm also not, like, I'm not the person that can just do laps in an HPDE every weekend and feel satisfaction from that either. So there's this kind of battle back and forth in my brain of like, what if I'm not all in and going out to compete whenever I'm going out on track, like I don't have the drive like I need to be able to do it the way that I want to. So I think right now the once a month auto and just keeping to like poking away at the truck and playing setup on it. And
yeah, I'd say you and I was going to say you and I are very much the same in that respect. Like, I'm not going to get into a fist fight with you over a mini golf game. I'm not that guy. I'm not competitive like that. And I'm not like the extreme where it's just like I don't want to like be like, I'm not Eric Catil, because I don't want to like put a name to it, but like you know, like I'm not someone that is that good, and you know, fighting at the front where I feel like I have to, you know, I'm the best and I'm chasing after a win. It's like my competitiveness is kind of in the same with you. Like I can only do so many open lapping days before I'm completely bored.
Yeah.
So it's like somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah. And it like, and I've always come back to like the have to do it right now aspect of autocross as all like, that's always, I think part of that for me is the same thing that was why my dad was a drag racer for so long, because it's just happening like right now. Everything's happening right freaking now, and you got to be on it. And that, yeah, there's still nothing better like going out and doing the road course side and Optima stuff was always fun, but there was nothing like battling back and forth with somebody just run for run in an autocross all day long like that. Oh man. So yeah, that's my, so we did the one in March at our normal, which is a horse track, which is just the kind of crummy asphalt. And then, the other venue that we have it's a small lot, but it's the high school and football stadium parking lot in a city called Burleson, and it's concrete. And it's like sticky concrete. Uh-huh. So we'd gone down there once before in my mom's like bone stock 2016 Camaro SS on 560 treadwear tires. And I'm on the worst tires that I've ever autocrossed on, outside of like whatever was on my Scion whenever I first got started. And I'm like, this car is so hooked up. Oh my God. And so we're rolling down the whole time in the week leading into I'm telling myself, like, man, fairly fresh 295 Yokohamas and sticky concrete. I'm going to lose my mind. It's going to take me at least a couple runs to just trust what's happening. And I was, sure enough, I was correct about that. And yeah, it blew me away. The truck never, it makes enough power and it's light enough in the back end that you can't ever really just wail on it in second gear with the throttle. Like, you've got to manage it. And this course starts like you take off from the line, and then there's like a 45-degree turn into a couple of offsets. And I'm hammering it in second gear through this 45-degree turn, and it is just stuck like glue. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was super, super, super fun. And okay, well, now I'm thinking, well, maybe we should just take this thing to Lincoln and go play on the big concrete
Yes.
up there. We're 2 events in. We might as well make the whole year and do nationals at this point.
Exactly. I like where your head's at.
But had a nice head firmly inserted into rear end moment. So we're co-driving it, so we get 6 runs in the session. So the turnaround is so fast that we don't alternate. We just do he does 3, I do 3, he does 3, I do 3. So he does his 3, I do mine, and I'm sneaking up on it. And the finish is fairly fast. It's like a 45-degree turn out of a slalom into the finish. And I'm telling myself after the 3rd run, I was like, man, I'm leaving so much time on the table into that finish. I just need to man up and just stay in it.
There's so much grip there, man.
There's so much grip there. There's also kind of a dip in the middle of it, I think.
Forget that part.
Yeah, don't worry about that part. And I had been my work assignment. I'm in the trailer and I'm hearing cars just squalling tires and get sideways into that finish. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. Yeah.
They're on the shitty tires. They don't have the grip that I have.
Well, if somebody in a Corvette sliding through this corner, what's the guy in the 63 C10 going to do?
Exactly.
So the second run data, or actually I was watching it just looking at it in the video because I've got to see the dash. And the run before this, I'm 60 miles an hour at the apex of this. And the 4th run, I'm 62 miles per hour at the apex and still hard on the throttle. And it loses, I think, the front end and then the rear end. And then I feed a lot of steering into it and then take a lot of steering out. And the thing that you've got to watch whenever you're left foot braking, but you don't do it that much, is whenever crap hits the fan, I couldn't get my feet where I needed to. I wanted to go both feet in, but my left foot was just on the brake.
You just went 1 foot brake, 1 foot forward.
I couldn't do it. I just had a load of carpet under my right foot and a brake pedal under the left, and it just slid forever. And I'm hearing cones just go thump, 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 thump.
Oh, geez.
And it stops and it's facing the finish line. Because the biggest thing I was worried about, I was please don't take out the timing lights. I don't want to be the guy that took out the timing lights. This event's been going really smooth so far. I don't want to be that guy.
We're going to finish on time today, and now it's just add 45 minutes.
Yeah, except for this 45-minute delay to get the timing set back up. And luckily, I knew I didn't hit the timing lights because the truck was pointed at them. 100 feet past the finish line.
Perfect.
And luckily with So if you do that with a carburetor, you get to like pump it and beg it to start back up. Luckily with fuel injection, it just cranked right back up, and I whipped a UE and
perfect.
got off the course. And I don't think I screwed up anybody else's run, but and then
I suppose probably sent someone right 15 seconds after you. So
yeah, I talked to because the people that were also in there was people in our class running a 4th gen Camaro that I talked to them afterwards, and I don't think she got ragged or anything because she was on course whenever I did that. But and like I rolled the rest of the way off the course, and I'm like driving back to grid, like somebody's gonna come yell at me, and I'm thinking like I'm done. Like I'm calling it. I don't like my head's not in the right place. I don't know.
I'm an embarrassed idiot.
Yeah, and I like roll down because we had to make this like weird U-turn 3-point thing to get back into our grid spot. And by the time I get back, I'm like, okay, I'll give it one more shot.
It was just a couple cones. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. And then went out and took a decent chunk off my time and felt better about things. So, but
you found the limit, and that's what you got to do.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the limit was well in the rear view. But yeah, and then so yet again, autocrossing a house is funny. Everybody that I talk to about it, I'm like, yeah, it's like autocrossing a house. They universally, everyone that I tell that to just cracks up.
It makes sense. Yeah, house, boat, either way.
Yeah, it's more planted than a boat. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, that's fair. You've done a lot of work in that respect. That it's not gonna.
In transition, it's not bad. It feels quicker in transition than it looks from the outside whenever I watch video of it. But
sure.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. So I think their next event is like the end of May, and then we've got friends that do some cars and coffees. And so I think I'm going to drive the truck down here and take it to their cars and coffee on Saturday, and then potentially just drive it to Burleson and autocross it on Sunday too. So
perfect. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
What could go wrong?
Nothing. It's fine. It's fine. It's just an autocross. I've never been stranded in an autocross. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh wait, yes I have. Well, we can. Looks like my internet is going to hold out, so I think we're good. So I feel like we can move on and talk about more truck stuff. I also want to let you know you've sent me a bunch of pictures. None of them are actually just of the truck.
I thought there was one.
There's one of the old truck.
I can. So the new truck is sitting behind it in that picture, I think. But
yeah, I have. There's the one picture where it shows the front door and the front fender, and then the other one is the old truck. And as you, let's say, if you want to send that to me, as you alluded to last week, you did get a new truck. So
yeah, so in 2016, I had been daily driving my trusty 350Z for like 5 years at that point. So we did like Bilstein Eibach combo springs and shocks on it, and we did sway bars and a bunch of urethane bushings. And then I went wakeboarding like shortly after that and ate it really hard and wrecked my back. Ooh. And I was like, I cannot drive this car every day, like, because the Bilsteins were super stiff. Like the thing was like crazy harsh.
But they weren't like, I mean, they're not like track only. I thought they were kind of like,
no, yeah, they're not supposed
enthusiasts. To be. Yeah, aren't they?
But they're way, way, way harsh on the road. Like it's not it's not stiff. They're just harsh. Like the shocks themselves are just really like, they're not very compliant. Like, so I think the car was still undersprung, but it was also over damped. So it was the best of both worlds. It still had terrible body roll, but also it would bounce over bumps.
Okay.
So it was just none of it was ideal, and it was like an $800 setup. So I mean, it's kind of like it was one of those you kind of end up you get what you pay for on it. But I've liked if I put Öhlins on it, then I probably wouldn't have gotten a truck as fast as I did. But so I went and found, at that time, it was a 2010 GMC. So it was like 6 years old and had 60,000 miles on it. And at that point, that was like a $20,000 truck because things weren't completely upside down, crazy, insane on the used vehicle market then.
You're talking a handful of years ago when you bought this truck, correct?
Yeah, the
previous
this
truck.
was like 2016. Yep.
Okay.
So fast forward, I've put 100,000 miles on that truck, and every morning whenever I go out, it's got the 5.3 in it with AFM. And every morning I start it up and it goes ting, 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 ting.
As they do. How many miles did it have total?
It had like 162 on it wherever I sold it, but it had been making lifter noise for like 20,000 miles.
Yeah, it's getting up there. That's about the mileage when you start to really worry about those.
So it was, I had the full kit from Texas Speed, like in a cart ready to buy a few different times. And it was like,
I'm assuming one of them was after it happened to mine.
No, I wasn't worried about it at that point. I was like blissfully ignorant at that point, but it like the noises that it was making just kind of gradually got like more pronounced. And it was one of those that every morning I would just start it up and go like, "Not today, Satan." So yeah, I went back and forth on it because I really I loved the truck. I love that like 07 to 2013 generation of trucks. Like I think that's one of the best looking trucks that GM's ever made. Like they're just clean and simple, and like
it's a good truck.
It mechanically was very good. The interior was absolute dog crap, but whenever I got it, it was 6 years old and the dash was cracked to holy hell, and I just lived with it because it was fine.
It's Texas, because it sat in the sun its whole life.
Well, and then so like I think GM actually had like a class action suit against them over the dashes in those, because it was the same dash that was in the Tahoes and the Yukons, and they all cracked. Like I think literally all of them cracked.
So it's like a 240 SX hood or dash.
Yeah. Proud GM tradition, dash cracking. So like the truck was fine. Like mechanically it got like 15 miles to the gallon no matter what I did. It towed fine. I put helper bags on it eventually, and it towed my trailer fine. But like the interior's falling apart. It's at 160,000 miles. Like, okay, so now I need to go through all the front end. It needs another set of shocks. It needs brakes. I really need to either do the cam and the lifters and everything, or I need to just get another 5.3 and freshen it up and just swap it in, just swap it out over a weekend. And it was just like, okay, I'm going to end up putting like $6 or $7 grand into this truck that at the end of the day, the interior is still falling apart. And it was an SLT. So it had like the dimming mirrors that only one of them still worked, like the power folding mirrors that they don't work anymore.
It's starting to show its age. Yeah.
And like, I got rear-ended in it, and the backup sensors, they were throwing an error. It was just all these little things starting to pile up. So Okay, fine. So back in February, I just fell out of a tree one day and drove to the dealer because they had this one that I had like my requirements were it needs to have leather because I work in a stinky place and I don't want cloth like soaking up all of the stinky,
the oils and the sweats and the
burnt smell from my workplace every day. But I don't want all of the other crazy fancy stuff. I don't want that tailgate that's like 4 different pieces that folds and flaps and all that stuff, and apparently is like $10,000 to replace.
Yep. You don't want that.
I want that. I want as simple a truck as I can get with leather, and the dealer that we've bought all of our cars from for a long time has this one pop up on the website, and it's like $11,000 off. It's like,
whoa.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to go buy a truck.
So was this like a last year model? We got the new ones coming in sale type thing, or
No, it was just I think because like over the last like year and a half, like truck demand was like through the roof, and then it tapered off, and then like production caught up, and like one thing or another, like it's a dealer that's kind of out in the country, and they just move on volume.
sure.
Like I bought my last truck there, and we bought Jen's Blazer there, and it's like you go in and like they're undercutting what everybody else is doing on the price of the car. That's pretty much what it's going to be. You're not going to go back and forth with them and knock like $7,000 or $8,000 off of it, which I'm cool with. I don't want to do the back and forth. Let me go talk to my manager thing.
No.
Like,
No, I'm the same way. Like, because when I bought my truck too, it was the same thing. It was like I knew the price was right. Like they weren't going to budge on it. I tried to get them to give me, okay, how about you give me a little bit more for the Avalanche? Okay, we'll do this. You know, we're talking like nothing. And I was like, and throwing a tonneau cover. Okay, good. Like I wasn't leaving without the truck. Like it was what it was.
yeah. And that like we've got, we work with the same guy there, so like we know, like we went back and forth a little bit on my trade just to get a little more money on it, because they were like, this truck's 15 years old, but it's low, like for that age, it's lower mileage, but they're like, we don't have any comps for it. So I was like, well, I'm not going to just give it to you. So we went back and forth a little bit, and they still like, it ended up kind of being whatever. It hurt me a little bit to let them have it for what I ended up getting for it, but it wasn't enough to justify like having to go try to sell it to somebody and find somebody that actually had cash for it. So
exactly how I would describe the Avalanche sale.
Yeah. It was kind of like, okay, that's fine. And it's taking it off the sale price, so it's saving tax too. So it was kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. So yeah, it's a 2025 half-ton Chevy with the 5.3 with a 10-speed. And I'm blown away at how, 15 years of evolution in the powertrain. I would hope that it would feel different than what the one of my tired old truck did, but like it's mind boggling how good that thing is. Like it makes so much power from 1800 to 2500 that I never make the thing turn more than 3,000 RPM. Like you get on the highway and it's just whoop, 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 and 75 miles an hour. And it's been getting anywhere from 19 to 21 miles per gallon on the, and I'm blown away by it. Like I was going back and forth on whether I should get the little 6-cylinder Duramax in the half ton, and like they get crazy good mileage. They're rated for like 29 miles to the gallon on the highway if you get a 2-wheel drive, but it's also diesel emissions. It's putting DEF in it. Yeah. It's got like particulate filter and injection pump and all this stuff. And I'm like,
I think you're gonna be a lot happier with the choice you made.
That like I opened the hood on the 5.3 and I can see the ground on both sides of it. Like there's just it. And like not to say that a direct injection 5.3 and a 10-speed is anything remotely simple, but and compared to
so you understand
compared
the architecture.
Compared to a diesel engine in 2025, like that 5.3 is pretty damn simple stuff.
Yup.
So
I know that 10 speed's very highly rated. Anyone that's driven them is speaking very well about them, especially someone that had like an 8-speed. So like mine, it does great with the trailer behind it, but the logic in it and the shifting is just so fucking weird. Like it drives better with a trailer behind it than it does driving on the road by itself. It's just like I was behind some Max trailer package, and it was meant for towing at a 1500 level, and it's just like it would rather do that. But I know my dad had a truck just like mine, and then he got a truck very similar to yours, and when he said when they went to the 10-speed, it was night and day. So like I'm jealous of your 10-speed.
Yeah, that was, and I also like I was reading about the little they've got So they've also got a 2.7 turbo 4-cylinder and like kind of the custom trim level, like basic trucks. And it's like $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 cheaper, something like that. If you compare it to the 5.3, and like it makes 430 foot-pounds of torque. Like I was reading, like it's tows pretty good, but also it's the 8-speed. And
I'm surprised they still even have those.
Like, yeah. And so it's kind of, that feels kind of like the equivalent of what, in the generation that I had, there was a 5.3 with the 6-speed, or there was a 4.8 that still had the 4-speed. Like, make the 4.8 worse, put a 4-speed behind it versus the 6, like it kind of, and it, it's just to hit a price point. So,
right.
But, so yeah, like the dry, it's like, it's smooth and quiet and nothing rattles yet. And, it's like, it was one of those, like the first couple of days I was driving it, was just like, I miss my old truck. And then like the third day, like halfway into my 50-minute commute, I'm like, all right, yeah, this I guess is okay.
This thing's so damn comfortable.
Yeah, or my two things actually were leather and heated seats, which you can get heated seats with cloth in these, but yeah.
Why would you need heated seats in Texas?
Because I work in a machine shop, so I like my back to be heated every day whenever I leave. So
do you have cooled seats?
It doesn't have the AC, which Jen's Blazer has them and my dad's truck has them. And unless I'm like sweating my butt off whenever I get in there, I can't ever tell that much about them. Like, and then if I am sweating and I've been really hot, I get in there with the AC seats turned on and I feel like I'm like feverish in no time. Like, blah, 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 blah.
There is definitely that. Like it's one of those things, like if it was an option and it didn't cost me anything, sure, put it in. But like, I'm not gonna go sought after for it. Like I don't need it. Yeah. There is one. Jess's Bronco has the heated steering wheel, and I will say that's quite nice.
Yeah, I've got that too. Yeah,
I don't have that in mind, but again, it's one of those features. Like I don't really need it, but when it's 0 out, it's nice.
Yeah, when it's like 50 or less. Yeah.
When you got to put on your mittens down in Texas.
Yeah. So all of that being said,
let's hear what you don't like.
I'm also like a caveman trying to play with fire with the thing I think like last year or the year before they updated them. So they've had they've had infotainment systems in them forever. This one, the entire damn dash is a screen. Like the gauge cluster is a screen, and then it's like a 13 or 14 inch diagonal screen that's next to it over the center console that is the infotainment stuff.
So it's probably like 6 inches tall by
it's massive,
unnecessary,
and I said it was unnecessary, and I said it was like I don't understand this. And I get in Jen's Blazer, and I'm like, why is that so damn small? I can't even barely read it.
It's still it's a Chevy, so it still has buttons and knobs, and all of your shit isn't in the infotainment center though.
Correct. Yeah.
So you got that going for you.
Climate control is still knobs. It's got a volume knob. Like, yeah, you can do all the basic functions without having to get into menus. Like it purely is just like you can access the climate control and stuff like that through it, but it's primarily like, so I have it set up. It does wireless CarPlay. So whenever I get in there, it connects to my phone and it pops up CarPlay automatically. And then one thing that is cool about it, it's wide enough on that side that it's got like the normal, like 16:9 CarPlay. There's another section next play like a clock or like trailer, or you can do navigation on it, but it has to use the data connection through OnStar, which I'm not paying for.
No.
Or like what your audio is. so you can have the audio on the side, and then your CarPlay can be on your navigation. So like that's pretty convenient.
Yes, on Jess's Bronco, but mine doesn't have any of that because I don't have wireless CarPlay, and it doesn't. It's just like one gen too old for the nice features. But on Jess's, like you can have Waze on we'll just say like it kind of splits into like 3 little screens, and obviously hers is like half, like basically cut yours in half, and that's what hers is. Yeah. It's just as tall, but it's like
so it's still gigantic, is what you're saying.
No. The Broncos are actually quite small. It's probably like 8 or 9 inch square. Like it's not gaudy like yours. But yeah, but it's nice because you put in Waze, and then that's like it takes up like 2/3 of the screen, and then on the right side you have like 2 more little screens, and that'll show like your Spotify and whatever you're listening to, and I think you're like whatever's on the bottom. I can't remember, but yeah, so it's kind of nice that you can just have all that pulled up at once.
Yeah. This is all totally to be looking at and have blasting in your face when you're driving down the highway around other 87 miles an hour. It's perfectly fine.
Exactly.
So whenever I'm actually like going to test drive it, Brent, the salesman, as we're walking out, and he's like, "All right, well, I'll come around there and I'll show you how to use the gear shift."
Fuck.
And like, he knows us. He knows like we do car stuff. Like we own an auto parts store. Like, tell me, okay, I'm going to need you to explain to me why you need to explain the gear shift to me, Brent. And I get in there, and it's in the center console, and it's like a T-handle shaped like thing that's just toggles back and forth, like it's like detent, so you just like pull it back or push it forward. And so it's push button start, it's keyless, it just so you get in and push the button to start it, and he says, "All right, so if you push it forward, it goes. If you push it, or if you pull it back, it goes into drive." Okay, so you pull it back to go forward. Got it. And it has a light up indicator on the top of it that has like there's a P in the middle, and then where you pull it back, like the D lights up. There's like a D and an L on the bottom, and then above the P there's an N and then an R. And so like to go into reverse, you like press the button on the side and push it like 2 little notches forward, and that puts it in reverse. So like you push the gear shift forward to go backward.
So is it like is it like 2 distinct like positions to get to reverse, or is it like two
it doesn't, it's you're just forwards? like you kind of push it and it like click and then comes back to center. Like it's on a detent where it comes back to center every time you touch it.
I think my mom's what does she drive now? I think she had an Acadia. I want to say she has a new Acadia. We'll just, for the sake of conversation, my mom drives a brand new Acadia. Okay,
a General Motors SUV that's not a Tahoe or a Suburban.
That's it, and it has this exact shifter. And at Christmas I drove it, and I think we made it.
And you needed to have a salesman explain to you how it worked.
She had to explain it to me how it worked, and I made it halfway out of the garage, and I went, "I fucking hate this."
So I've been driving it since late February. Like 2 weeks ago, I think, was the first week that I made it all. I did not put it into drive whenever I was intending to put it in reverse, or vice versa. That's how intuitive it is.
I was going to say, this is the worst part.
And then to put it into park from anything, there's just a button with a P like on the top of the side, and you just press it down and that puts it into park. You just click it.
I don't think hers is that straightforward. I want to say hers has like one more thing you have to do that. But yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, and it's like the whole and the whole time I'm like I drive the thing for 2 hours a day, so I've had time to contemplate this. I'm like, So they sell these trucks without the full center console thing, and it just has a column shift, and the column shift is just PRNDL. Like why? One, why couldn't I just still have a column shift and I could have this entire vast expanse of space here to do whatever with, like my old truck was? But also, like, why? Like, what was wrong with being like Jen's Blazer? You still just go PRNDL. Like
it's innovation for the sake of innovation. Like it didn't make it any better. It's just it's different, and they had to do something different, and now they can sell it as an innovation. It's not innovative; it's just different. So, like, if I ever meet the person that spec'd out my truck before he went through the thing and just checked what he wanted and left off the things that he didn't. Like, it was a custom order, and he got the bench seat front and the column shifter. And if I ever meet him, I'm buying him a fucking beer because it's great.
Yeah. So, the other big thing that I have not been able to figure out on it is, so it has accident avoidance. Like, it tells me the follow distance to the car in front of me. That's all done with a camera and the windshield. It's nothing super fancy. It appears to be the exact same camera that my wife's Blazer has. It's got the same graphics about follow distance. Her Blazer, adaptive cruise. My truck, no adaptive cruise.
What?
All of the equipment is there. It's got the same buttons on the steering wheel. It's all there. It's literally just software.
Is it a subscription?
It's a $500 option whenever the truck is ordered, and apparently GM is hard set that the way it's ordered is the way it is. And I don't know if
can you tune that?
Because I don't understand. Yeah, I don't.
I was like, could you get an HP tuners and then just like turn that on?
Possibly, but it's got like a absolute buttload of warranty on it, and I'm not touching any of it.
Oh, duh. Yeah, duh. Of course it does. But yeah, I was just like, that sucks. That is adaptive cruise is one of the innovative things that I begrudgingly admit that I like.
Yeah. So I hadn't I don't get into that many scenarios where I can use it effectively in the Blazer, but whenever I drove the Blazer to Topeka and I just set the cruise on like 91 miles an hour going down the interstate and did lane keep also, I just kind of rested my hand on the wheel for like long periods of time.
See, I utilize it. I always set it higher than I ever intend to go. So like, we'll just say 91. And then I'll just use the fastest car on the road as my rabbit. And then I just follow them. And I just let it, like I set the distance, and I never do lane keep. I don't like it. And again, I think it's because the vehicles that I have it on don't do a good job. They just do the vibrate your seat, because the Sonic just like, it has it from 2015. So all it does is kind of like, so like, it just like, it flashes a couple lights at you and then beeps. Like, it doesn't do anything. So obviously I don't use that ever. And then Jess has it on her Bronco, and I always shut it off because hers is the same thing. Like, it doesn't help you. It just shakes the steering wheel when you get too close to the edge, and that annoys me more than it helps me.
Yeah, the GM one, the only problem with it is it lets you wander a lane quite a bit, which that's because it's not self-driving. It's telling you that it's self-driving, but like I liked it for the long drive at winding interstate with all these gradual curves in Kansas. Like, you could put like a third of the effort into it than what you normally would to steer, on the big gradual turns and stuff on the interstate. So
sure.
And my truck has that too, but it doesn't have adaptive cruise.
That's frustrating.
So, and I don't know if that's down to like how the dealer specs, how much they're just getting an allotment of random option packages versus getting like the truck's basic as hell other than the seats and the console. So I don't like, it kind of I wasn't shocked by it. I knew that the majority of what they had on the lot didn't have it, and it wasn't a deal breaker for me. So
you didn't go in there trying to buy a high country.
No,
right?
No. Yeah, because expensive as this was, it wasn't nearly as expensive as anything with a high country or Denali or anything like that.
Yeah, anything with that little special emblem. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, mine does have a special emblem. It's a Texas edition, so.
I thought that's what I read on the side, but I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a Toyota Tundra that has the Texas edition. I didn't realize Chevy had a Texas edition.
Oh, every company that sells a truck in Texas has a Texas edition because
that is amazing to me. I didn't realize that was.
And I'm pretty sure on mine, like that's what optioned the interior up is the fact that it's the Texas edition package because it's like otherwise, and it's the RST package, so it's all the bodies, the bumpers, and like I guess just the bumpers or body color.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, they're not chrome like
and it's like it's a darker. It's like between like the really dark gray and the silver. So I'm calling it this is the 2025 equivalent of that like champagne color that they put on all the trucks back in like the 90s and early 2000s. This is the 2025 version of that. It's old man gray. That's my.
I like it, but I'm a big fan of silver. So gray's right up there.
Yeah. So I was spoiled on my old one because the GMC had like a bunch of different random colors that like that one was gray, but it had a bunch of like blue and brown and green in it. So it like it popped different in different lights and stuff. Like this truck's just gray. It's got metallic in it, but it's just straight gray metallic. There ain't any other like personality in there. So.
No, they have a lot of colors like that now.
Yeah. But it's probably going to get lowered a little bit because it's way too damn high. And
I figured that's what you wanted to talk to Adam about. Because he has the same complaint. All new trucks are too tall.
Yeah. It didn't have running boards, and like I didn't really like the ones on my old truck, so I was fine with it not having them because I think you can do spindles on the front and shackles on the back and get 2 inches all the way around. And I think that'll probably be the extent of what I do to it. But that'll just make it sit like our regular truck instead of something that's got 9 inches of fender gap in the front and rear. So mine's very tall and also doesn't have running boards. Kind of the same thing. It was like, I actually think they look better with running boards, but I don't really care enough to get them, and I'm certainly not going to pay for them. It's just like I don't care enough to buy them, so it's just going to be without. Yeah, because my old one had them factory. Like, I wouldn't have. My old one was definitely the old man truck because it had running boards and it had vent visors and it had blind spot mirrors on both mirrors.
The Avalanche had blind spot mirrors and like they were like their aftermarket added on things.
Yeah, these were like Pep Boys specials and they were helpful too.
They were nice. They worked. They did work. Yeah, I got the tow mirrors, so like they don't, it has all that extra bullshit on it, but the Avalanche had that added to it, and it was actually very helpful. And then you're getting a tonneau cover because after last week, the whole thing
trying
flipped.
To decide what. Trying to decide what. I need help from the hive mind. I don't know what kind I want to get. I'm looking at the ones that they're like the fold, like 3 or 4 section folding kind.
You mean like the solid ones, like the Avalanche had? Or are you talking like the thin one, kind of like mine, but in sections that like rolls or that folds rather than rolls?
Yeah, that folds. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it sits flush, and it's like 4 panels that like roll up over each other.
Yes. Okay. So I just got the Truxedo, the roll up one that everyone has. I'm happy with it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I want something hard. I had a soft cover on my Sonoma way back in the day, but like we took that truck to New Mexico one time, and it was like 4 degrees the morning we left, and I couldn't get it back closed. It was drawn up so much from the cold. I was like, we took off with one corner of it, just kind of like I could get all but like 4 inches of it. I was like,
No,
that's not happening.
don't. You seem to have taken a handful of pictures showing the headlights and their capabilities. I feel like there was a reason for this.
Oh yeah, because just as much as driveline technology has come a long way in 15 years, so has headlight technology. Holy crap! That thing is like it's like a Dakar truck going down the road at night. It's like a 200-degree field of view for like a quarter of a mile, and that's on low beams.
Yep, like it's wild how good a $1,400 set of headlights is. Or whatever, $1,400 per side, probably, whatever they cost now.
Probably so more than that. Because like my old truck, the lenses were yellowed, and I put like 4 sets of bulbs in it. So I finally just broke down and ordered some cheapo LED ones off of Amazon, and they were even worse.
Oh shoot! I was say
but they didn't.
I was gonna say the LED upgrade is like the first thing I do, no matter what car I got. Like anything's better than the crap that's in it. Obviously, I'm not buying unless I'm talking brand new trucks that have LEDs in them already.
Yeah, the sole upside of the ones that I got was the fact that they didn't burn out after 6 months like the last few had, because the low beams wore the daytime running lights also on it. So,
oh, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, like the first time I drove it at night, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I can
see.
Not only is there a coyote over there, like I can see its bones. Like,
the new trucks are like that advertisement. I think it was Mercedes that had the headlights going through the cow.
Yeah, it was gnarly. I was also thinking like, oh yeah. Now I'm that guy that I don't like whenever I'm driving the Z, but bright ass headlights. Yeah,
it's straight into the eyeballs of every normal car.
Yep. I'm gonna lower it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, so you won't be the problem.
Yeah. So since getting this, there's a guy that's autocrossing with us that has one that's lowered like 3 and 5. That he's towing an enclosed trailer with, and it's a half ton. I'm impressed, dude. There was one at Super Lap that was lowered about that much that was towing a trailer, and I was like, man, everything in the world is telling me to just dump this thing in the weeds.
Yep. They're clearly doing it. It's fine.
Yeah, but spindles and shackles and probably a different set of wheels, because I kind of, they're not my favorite wheels that are on it, but
I get that.
They'll do.
Yeah, the amount of off pavement driving my truck has done, the wheels are not good. They need some love, and I don't care enough to do it, but I should.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of one of the, like, my old truck, it was fine just like it was. Like I lowered the back of it a little bit just purely because it looked goofy, because it had stink bug stance, but
oh sure.
I was perfectly fine with it just how it was. Like it's utility. And this one's going to be that way too, to a point, but it'll probably get a few badges taken off of it, get lowered a little bit. And I want to find just some of the, to like take off like 22s off of a high country or something that are like the kind of snowflake looking ones. And
sure. Yeah. That's what I did to the Avalanche, because they had those really awful wheels on it. Somebody had done what you were doing and got really nice wheels for their brand new truck, and so a brand new set of wheels and tires from I can't remember what year it was, just sitting in their garage. They wanted pennies on the dollar for them. Yeah, I'll do that.
I need to find somebody that just bought a Denali and lifted it and put their big giant wheels on it and didn't let 4-wheel parts sell their takeoffs.
Yep. There you go.
But yeah, long story short, trucks are expensive because they're worth it.
Yep, they are. They really, really are. Yeah, I don't regret buying a nice truck. I thought when I went in, I was like, God, that's so much money. And it's just like, yeah, I don't regret it. I don't, not once.
Yeah, especially when I spend 10 hours a week in it. So I toyed with the idea of like just finding a cheap car that gets really good mileage and just do that until we decide to end up relocating a little bit closer. And then it's just like, I did the math. I was like, okay, if I find a car for like $5,000 and then it's going to be, at least $100 a month insurance. I was like, I charted it all out and it's like, okay, if it gets like 35 miles to the gallon on the highway versus my 15, it'll pay for itself in like 2034 or something like that. Well, this doesn't make any sense.
Man, I thought for sure I was getting you in a Sonic. I tried.
Yeah, John's tried to get me in a Fit too, but if I could get a car for $500, then math starts to look a little bit different. But
yeah, once you start knocking a couple thousand off those things, yeah, okay, it starts to play in your favor.
Yeah. Then there's just the whole breaking down on the side of the road all the time because the car has 287,000 miles on it thing. So
nope, it's not a thing, man. It's fine. You can drive them cross country, even if it's a Ford Focus. You can drive it wherever you want.
I wish Focus STs were cheaper.
That was on my short list when I was looking at like Sonics and stuff. It's just like a commuter car. There was 2 Focus STs that popped up and were sold within like minutes. Because I like within 2 hours I had messaged him like, hey, I can come see it after work, and it's like we already got someone with cash. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So it worked out, but still.
Yeah, there's a lot here that they had 2 of them that they're salvage title from just like getting hit in the front. They said, minor damage. I'm sure they definitely didn't just weld 2 cars together like Iowa Man, but
yeah, for sure 2 cars. And the VIN was from a 3rd car.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was like, and they're still asking like 13 for these things.
Oh, no.
I know.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, it's getting late, dude. I'm tired.
But to say, I think we did a show.
We did a proper show. Hour 47.
We did like, let's see, we can't really put it into the equivalent number of slip angles because slip angle doesn't exist anymore. So,
womp womp. But it is as long as a more recent track walking podcast. Because when you invite me to a show, we do 2 hours. It is what it is. Friendly reminder that if you're not getting a Petrobox subscription, you are dropping the ball, and you got to use that code TTP15 for 15% off that box and anything currently in the store. So that's mypetrobox.com, and obviously if you are reading the show description, that's already there. And as you can see, I'm wearing my shirt right now. mypetrobox.com.
That's a sweet shirt.
This is the penny saved as a penny race card shirt that he took from that comment that I made on the show that one time.
Nice. Do they still have the air fresheners in the store?
I don't know. I assume they're still in the store. They're still in like every box that shows up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The air fresheners, they're pretty solid for a car that kind of gets driven every once in a while and you kind of sweat in it a lot whenever you're on a racetrack.
Yeah. Yep. Not a bad thing to have.
Yep.
Nope. I was using a bunch of the stuff that came in there. One of my boxes last year. I went and for the first time this spring, I washed everything last Sunday. because I still had like grime from like when I moved, like from the last time I drove on the gravel road. So it hadn't quite worked its way off yet, and they were in dire needs of baths. So use my Petrobox gear to get my cars all clean. But yeah,
Nice.
I think that's a show, and we'll catch everybody next week.
Two in a row.
We're gonna make it. I don't know. We're gonna keep doing. We're gonna keep going. We're not gonna stop. Catch you next week.